about Freddie Galvis. So here's Huntington's quote. Quote, "We feel like we got a young Freddie Galvis. His name is Eric Gonzalez." Said Huntington, who added the Pirates are optimistic. Gonzalez and fellow middle infielder Kevin Newman will be as good, if not better, than what Freddie Galvis or any of the others who are out there right now. I'm guessing we're not counting Manny Machado, of the players we can get in a trade right now. The 20 said, they talk about Gonzalez. They said Pirate scouts were beating the table to get Gonzalez, who they believe will be above average, dynamic, very good, more range than anybody you've had at short, maybe some since you have managed, Clint Hurdle said.
Except for Echeverria when we had him for those 3 days.
Right. So, DiNardo, I read that quote, and I say just pencil Eric Gonzalez in as your starting shortstop on opening day. I guess that is the plan. So, all right. So, Eric Gonzalez is a couple years younger than Freddie Galvis, so he's younger. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
but what does that speak to? You know, like when we talk about how whether you like Galvis, I like Iglesias, neither really push the needle. So what does a young Freddie Galvis really speak to? You know what I mean?
Right. And at least Galvis is like, proven. We know what he could do at a full season.
And then you
got
to project to see it. So now, let's go back when the trade happened. You know, what he's saying, I will say, we brought up on the show too. You know, do we believe in Gonzalez? You know, like he could become a J-Hay hopefully. But I've heard that there's definitely a lot of scouts that do believe in him and do like him. So if Hurdle's saying that about the Pirates brass, I could potentially believe it.
Right.
But I think the problem is not singularly about Gonzalez. It's just that's like 90% of the Pirates team right now is these guys that have to prove themselves. You know, and that's what makes me uneasy right now when you have a team that's ready to go.
The most games Gonzalez has played in a season was last year, 81 games. Most plate appearances, 143. Like, Galvis is the guy who's played every game the past 2 years. Like, we know what he can do at shortstop. Gonzalez, might be a good glove. I don't know, might have some gap power, I guess. His career OPS is 681, so that doesn't really encourage you. But we don't know if he can hold up for a full season at the position, playing every single day. He's been a utility role. He's been bounced around in Cleveland. And if you go and sign a guy like Iglesias or Galvis, you have a shortstop, and then Gonzalez can be on the bench or he can bounce around, and that's where his value is. So, I don't know. Maybe they're right. I mean, the last time we've heard something about Pirate scouts, you know, yelling to go get this guy was Russell Martin, but at least Russell Martin had like seasons where he played the whole season at that position pretty much. Gonzalez really hasn't been. He's been a utility bench role. So it's a little concerning there. Now maybe we got to do a deeper dive in on Gonzalez, and maybe they do see something that we haven't seen or that are showing up in the numbers, obviously. But holy heck. It's just like the dude's most plate appearances, 143.
Right. And
Newman,
let's go back. I mean,
his most plate appearances was last September. I mean, we don't have much to go off
here.
We
saw what that was.
Right. So it's like we just don't have these guys for a full season. Like, we don't know if they can hold up.
And this is what goes back to the whole Troy Tulowitzki thing. And the reason why I said I didn't want him. Okay? And the reason I didn't want him was essentially just what we're talking about.
Because you're a hater.
There's so much risk. There's not a whole lot of floor on this team. There's no one that you can pencil. Maybe they don't have the high ceiling, but you can pencil them in there. Like you're saying about Galvis, like the difference between Galvis and Gonzalez. Like Galvis, you know what he is. Even though he's not great, you at least know where he is. You take out some of the risk in this team.
Right.
Just this whole team is like everything has to go right, and Tulowitzki would just be another one. Like Tulowitzki could do whatever, but he hasn't done it for so long. I just there's nothing on this team that you're just safe about. Like you can pencil someone in. Marte
Dickerson's about the only two.
Taillon.
Yeah, I mean,
Dickerson,
for hitting wise,
but it's like I don't know if the defense is really going to be there.
Right.
I mean, I think he'll still be a good player. Obviously, it's just I don't know what version of him you're going to get. But it's like pretty much like Marte and Taillon. You can pretty much pencil in Vasquez, and that's pretty much about it. And that's not a comfortable feeling because there's so many variances that everyone else can go. That yes, this team could be a 90 team. This team could be a 70-win team. I don't know. Which version of every single player is going to show up? I don't know. And that's, again, what's so frustrating about it, because that's what you're getting. When you go out and get some proven players on this team, then you have some of that certainty, and I will pay for some of that certainty. And then let the other guys project. But it's just like this whole team is filled with them.
Yeah, Hurdle. Gonzalez has more range than anybody you've had here at short during my time. Yeah, that's because Jordy Mercer had the range of a trash can.
But Clinton Barnes was there. That wasn't too far away. He was solid. But
now,
it's like, Gonzalez could be better than him.
It's like, yes. Do I think Gonzalez could put up, obviously could be a better defender than Jordy? Yes. Can he put up, the same, if it maybe better offensive numbers than Jordy? I don't know. We just haven't seen that from him. He hasn't had a full season. It's just.
Well, here's hoping that he does.
Right, and I'm not saying I couldn't. I couldn't. I'd be surprised if it happens and Gonzalez is actually surprises a lot of people and plays a full season and puts it together. But we don't know. It's just like you said. It's another if. It's another question mark.
You know what? It's like sums up this offseason to a T. Sorry to cut you off here, but I just have to.
No, good.
The fact that we've just accepted Adam Frazier as a second baseman.
Yeah. That's the least of my worries.
But I'm saying, that's what I mean by this. Like, it's so bad that we've gone so far into it that we just accepted, we know Frazier's just going to be the second baseman, so we're just worried about shortstop and other things. And I'm saying that as, again, this is the North Shore 9. We love Adam Frazier. But I love Adam Frazier as more as that utility role. The old Jay Hay. You're going to get his bat in there. He's going to get his at-bats. He's going to play all over the field. Because, having that as that depth option is really good. A really good team needs a really good non-starter, per se. And that would be like your Adam Frazier. This is not a knock on Frazier by any means. It's just that Frazier's value will be added as coming off the bench, coming and playing, on certain days off, still getting him there a lot, but playing outfield on off days, playing second base, playing shortstop in a very, 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 very tight pinch, maybe third base, but still getting him in there, but having a solid second baseman too. And we just accepted the fact that Adam Frazier's a starting second baseman.
Yeah, and Kramer's there, which I think it's going to be Frazier, but yeah, you're right. But Gonzalez, man, 681 OPS in the majors, minors 712 OPS, and even in the winter leagues and everything that he played 156 games over the course of his minors, 657 OPS. I don't know what they're seeing that we're missing. Now maybe they're just going off more of the glove, that he could have great range and be a pretty good glove over there. I'm not doubting that, but the offensive numbers, I don't know. Maybe it's a plus if he's anywhat better than Jordy, and we'll take it. But my goodness, I don't know.
He's going to be this is the redemption. He's going to turn into Jose Batista. The Indians just didn't know how to use him. They couldn't do it right. He's going to come over here. The X-Stein's going to, the X Factor is going to take care of him, and he's going to turn to Jose at shortstop. Right. 50 bombs from Eric Gonzalez this year. Book it.
Right. So I don't know if you want to. We'll kind of take some of these other news and notes from Pirate Fest. You sent me the Hurdle audio. I think from I don't know if it was Beer Temple or who the heck recorded it. But yeah, Hurdle basically was talking about Gung, saying that Gung, feels he let everybody down, fans, the team, the city. He's got kind of that chip on his shoulder. He wants to come back and wants to prove himself. And Hurdle basically he sounded like us on the podcast, was like, he has that potential to be a middle of the lineup bat.
And I think he had a point to say it too. He's only physically seen him do this. It's all been talk, but he's only physically seen him one session since his comeback. So it's I can't go based on anything that I've actually seen. It's just through talk and conversation, which is a little worrisome too.
Yeah, but it's he was the same thing. He's the potential's there. We've seen it before, obviously, but he basically was who knows? It was just So hopefully we'll Gung. It sounds good. He wants to come in and kind of redeem himself, basically. Yeah. So just when I didn't think you could do anything stupider.
And totally redeem yourself. So the other thing that stood out to me also was Josh Bell. there's been talk about Josh Bell. One of it is more or less, I mean, we all know his stance, everything changes by like each at pitch, it seems. Hurdle emphasized the fact that he's like, I understand, Bell, does this, but you have to have a general, the basics, more or less. And I guess last season, he pretty much told Bell, he's like, listen, get something going, do it, or I'm benching you. And we talked last year, I don't know what the numbers are, I haven't put them together, but we did say that was one of the bright spots, how, from day whatever to the end of the season, how Josh Bell actually was putting up really good numbers. He's been working in California all off season with the hitting guru. And this goes to it. I mean, this has been a very negative podcast. I get that. So maybe I'm trying to shed some positivity to it. But, right. I mean, it's Pirates Fest. What do you expect? So, I guess that's one of the things that's going to have to come. Josh Bell is going to need to take that next step. It's nice hearing some of these things, So maybe Josh Bell can take the next step, which his team is definitely going to need. So, yeah, there was conversations about Bell and that, which was promising. So I did like hearing that. The Gung stuff. And what was it, too, about his visa?
Oh, they said Gung's visa is in good working order for the entirety of 2019. So,
yeah. Whew. I hope they knew that before they signed him, right?
I know, right?
Like, they're not just now announcing that because they just found out, right?
Right. But real quick about just final wrap up on Bell. You mentioned about, the changes sort of towards the second half. His OPS, basically per month, 614 in April, 845 in May, which was really good. June 703, and then to end the season 884, 752, 860. So nice. His second half OPS overall was 823, and the OPS in the first half was 738. So basically almost 100-point difference. Mm-hmm. On base went up 40 points. Slugging went up about 40, 50. So,
and as Hurdle said,
so it kind of matches up.
Get it together, or I'm benching you. So it sounds like Josh Bell got it together. Therefore, he was afforded to play. So, right, maybe there is a little more to it with Josh Bell than, it meets the eye. And then hopefully this year he's building upon it. So, yeah, I am excited to see Josh Bell. I hope he definitely takes that next step.
Yep. So Gung's visa's in working order.
There you
go. Huntington's quote about the fifth rotation spot. So, so here's another one. So, are we going to sign another starter? Or are we, add to the bullpen? What's going on? So basically, Huntington said, Jordan Lyles is the plan A right now for the fifth rotation spot. So fantastic. He said Brault and Kingham would be the next two to get the crack at it, and then he said plan D would be to use an opener. So,
but who though?
That's what I mean. So it's almost like, well, if Lyles is in the fifth rotation spot, shouldn't you probably have an opener with him? Lyles would be the one to use it for, right?
Right.
It's like you don't want Lyles starting 20-some games. I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll put it this way: the fifth starter. I've never been one to if you're really worrying about the fifth starter, there's probably good things happening. If anything, at least we can talk about the starting pitching. That's kind of the scenario here. Our starting pitching isn't that bad at all. It's actually a strength. So if we're really worried about the number 5 starter, then there's probably not too many things to really worry about that. I would be okay, essentially, if Jordan Lyles was the number 5. With that being said, it's also because I know there are technically other options. I mean, Kingham is there. Brault is there. I think after last year we saw I'd rather have Brault in the bullpen. But the thing is, it's not Lyles or bust. There's definitely options. And then hopefully you, of course, have Keller in the background coming in maybe June-ish. So it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. But I think it's like if you have Lyles number 5, then I would want to go get another bullpen arm. That's my thing. I'm good with Lyles being the number 5. Go get a good reliever. Instead of putting Lyles into because I guess that's the thing. I liked Lyles as the pickup, and I liked it for him being a reliever, and I think that's gonna be good. But if they're going with him as a number 5, I kind of feel like I'd rather have Lyles as the 5th starter, and then say a Sean Kelly, Adam Warren, as you've mentioned, you know, as a reliever in that bullpen to really strengthen that up, opposed to just signing some other number 5 starter. Because there's not going to get any good pitchers, and then have Lyles in the bullpen. So I'm okay with Lyles being your number 5 per se. But then go make that move and strengthen up that bullpen even further.